Rebel Animals at Risk. Stories of Survival. Kimberlie Hamilton. Asia and the Pacific. Animals being killed for their body parts, such as rhino horns, tiger bones, and pangolin scales, is a big reason why many species are now in serious trouble. A growing number of conservationists say that traditional Chinese medicine is contributing to the deadly demand for endangered wildlife. Traditional Chinese medicine, TSM, is the world's older form of healthcare, dating back thousands years ago. This ancient practice features all sorts of therapies and treatments, such as herbal remedies, massage, and acupuncture. Although people all across Asia also rely on science-based medicine, TCM remains very popular and has spread to over 180 countries worldwide. Wild animals' parts are found in many TCM products, despite little evidence to back their health claims. Fortunately, editors throughout Asia are changing towards TCM, especially among the younger generation. Today, more and more TCM practitioners refuse to describe medicines that contain ingredients from endangered animals. Chinese health institutions no longer pays for such products either. Wildlife conservation is becoming better understood, and there is a new global treaty that protects animals from being harmed from traditional medicine. China and some other Asian countries have banned the import of ivory too. In 2020, China banned the sale of wildlife for meat, added more protections for pangolins, and removed pangolin scales from the list of approved TCM ingredients. While the country hasn't ended the illegal hunting of endangered species, it's definitely a step in the right direction. Bodak, Bactrian camel. Bodak was the star of the story of the Weeping Camel, a film featuring a family of nomadic shepherds in Mongolia's Gobi desert. The shepherd struggled to save the life of her very right Bactrian camel calf after his mother rejected him. The helpless baby wouldn't survive without his mother's care and milk, so his desperate herders finally resorted to an ancient ritual. A violinist came and played a mystical song while the herders stroked the mother camel and whispered encouragement. Miraculously, the ritual worked. The mother started to snuzzle Bodak and eventually allowed him to feed. The film gives a magical insight into the life of Mongolian herders and their animals. A very special documentary, it was nominated for the Best Foreign Film at the 2004 Academy of Arts. If only Bodak could have been there to strut down the red carpet. Coconut, snow leopard. Coconut lives at the Sacramento Zoo in California, USA, where he was born in 2018 with a condition known as swimmer syndrome. The youngest's hind limbs spread out behind him, and he was unstable to put any weight of them. Experts rushed to the club's aid, but his mom wasn't too keen at first about anyone getting near her precious baby. The vets eventually gained her trust and designed a physical therapy program that included tiny slings and harness designed as physical therapy program that included tiny slings and harnesses to help Coconut stand and walk and strengthen his muscles. By his first birthday, the curious and playful cub was running and pouncing and was as lively as a snow leopard should be. Coconuts Against Old Odds saga provided a rare opportunity for zoo visitors to learn more about Asia's mysterious and loudly seen ghost cats. Kinget tapir. Kinget was born in captivity in Indonesia and was moved to England when he was a teenager. For nearly 3 decades, he participated in a breeding program for endangered species operated by the Espinal Foundation. Kinget later retired to a 250 hectare 600-hectare wildlife sanctuary to live with 4 younger Malayan tapirs. Tapirs tend to be solitary creatures who prefer having their own space, but Kinget is unique. He gets jealous if the other tapirs get more attention and used to chase his caregivers around just for fun. In 2019, the plum black and white tapir celebrated an important birthday with a scrummy cake made from bananas, apples, and carrots, all his favorite treats. At 41, Cagnet was recognized by the oldest of his kind. Ling Ling and Sing Sing, giant pandas. When U.S. President Richard Nixon visited Asia in 1972, the Chinese leader gave him a very special gift, a pair of giant pandas. The bears were intended to be living symbols of peace and friendship between the two countries. Female Ling Ling and male Sing Sing became overnight celebrities, and people around the globe followed their long journey to Washington, D.C. After the couple was welcomed to America by the president's wife, they were whisked away to the National Zoo in the capital under an escort of armed guards. Ling Ling and Sing Sing drew 2,000 visitors on the first day on display, and almost doubled that number of visitors to the zoo. They lived at the zoo all their lives and taught researchers an enormous amount about pandas. Mashli, Bengal tiger. Mashli lived in a national park in northern India, where she ranked as queen of the jungle and earned a reputation for being utterly fearless. She had to defend her territory at young cubs again and again from much larger male tigers, and once she even took on and killed a giant crocodile. She did all these things on camera too, appearing in magazines and on television programs all around the world. Mashli passed away in her sleep in 2016 when she was about 19 years old, an impressive age for a female tiger. The heartbroken local people insisted of honoring her with a traditional Hindu funeral. Wrapped in a white linen and adorned with flower garlands, her body was cremated as forest rangers respectfully stood to attention. Marta, Seola. A seola is a creature so rare and elusive that they're known as the Asian unicorn. In 1996, a young female was captured in Laos. Named Martha, she looked like a miniature antelope and was one of the most astonishing discoveries of the 20th century, the first living seola the scientists had ever seen. She was beautiful and very shy, but soon grew tame enough to sit out of researchers' hand and even allowed herself to be gently stroked. Sadly, Martha survived only a few weeks in a captivity, and to his day, no biologist has ever seen a seola living in the wild. Conservationists now hope to find a pair of seolas and start a captive breeding program in Vietnam. More than 2 decades after her death, the dream is to give Martha's story a much happier ending. Princess Orangutan. Orangutans are considered one of the smartest primates, and the princess was especially brainy. After poachers killed her mom in the 1970s, she was sold as an exotic pet, but later rescued and returned to the wild in Borneo. She drew local researchers mad, sometimes helping herself to their dugout canoe so she could paddle up and down the river. One time, a visiting scientist struggled to open the door to his hut. The lock has been designed to keep the clever apes out, but Princess plucked the key from his hand, opened the door, and bolted it behind her. Then she ate an entire bowl of fruit that had been left as his welcome gift. What Princess is best known for, however, is mastering over 30 words in sign language, a remarkable feat for an animal living outside of captivity. Wisdom albatross. Wisdom is the world's oldest known wild bird, and she's flown millions of miles over the course of her long life. Albatrosses are large birds that spend the majority of their lives at sea, all returning to the nesting sites on land to breed. They mate for her life and typically lay a single egg every other year or so. Yet Wisdom and her mate, Akikamai, have returned to the same site in Midway Atoll in the Pacific Ocean every season for many years, laying an egg each time. Wisdom has raised about 35 chicks, and in 2019 became a mother once again at the age of 68. Albatrosses are no longer hunted for their feathers, but seas polluted with oil, microplastic, and other rubbish continue to threaten these species. Asian wildlife wins. Conservationists throughout Asia are making great strides in their quest to save threatened species. Conservation dogs in India are being trained to sniff out tiger skins, ivory tusks, and the bones of endangered birds. They can also look at endangered wildlife, which helps rangers track down and arrest poachers more quickly. The giant panda breeding research base in Chengdu, China is home for over 100 giant pandas. Giant pandas rarely breed in captivity, but the Chengdu there have been great success. The keepers do everything they can just to give pandas a natural life, including wearing black and white costumes so the pandas won't get too used to humans. A new giant panda nature reserve in China will connect 67 protected giant panda territories, giving the bears room to roam freely and find mates. The Gobi Bear Project in Mongolia helps protect the bears by setting up feeding stations in the Gobi Desert and guarding them with ranges and motorbikes. 4 baby jama-rhinos, one of the world's rarest species, were born in 2020 in a national park in Indonesia, bringing the total population up to 72. The park is the only place these rhinos can be found in the wild. A Pango cam is a lightweight, waterproof camera that can be attached to the back of a pangolin. These animals are difficult to observe in the wild, so the Pango cam helps researchers learn more about them by giving them a unique pangolin side review. Conservation has created a special school for orangutans of the islet of Borneo to teach orphaned apes how to eat, live, and sleep in trees. All key survival skills their moms would have taught them. 10 baby Siamese crocodiles were spotted in the wild Cambodia in early 2020, a sign that breeding programs are working. Locals are helping to by patrolling into forests alongside rangers to stop poachers. The Skywalker Hollow gibbon was named by scientists who were big fans of the Star Wars film. They thought the Skywalker was an accurate description of the apes' movement high in the forest canopy. If you found names, are also a clever way to draw people's attention to at-risk species. There are fewer than thought that Sumatran tigers left in the wild due to poaching and habitat loss. New laws are put in traffickers behind bars, and more rangers are being hired to protect tigers. Other amazing Asian animals. Elba is world's only known albino orangutan. She was released into the wild in 2019 in Borneo, and conservation has spotted her swinging joyfully through the trees the following year. Charlie is a Komodo dragon who gave birth to 3 hatchlings, Onyx, Jasper, and Flint, in 2019 without any help from a male partner. Yes, it's possible with some species. The lizard family lives at Chinatown Zoo in Tennessee, USA. A rare Chinese pangolin was born in captivity for the first time in 2020 at a sanctuary in Vietnam. The team at Save Vietnam's Wildlife were taken by surprise when they spotted a little guy trotting along behind his mother. They now feel very optimistic about the future breeding programs. The Clara was an Indian rhinoceros who caused a sensation during her 70-year grand tour of Europe since the mid-18th century. Such a creature hadn't been there in Europe since 1579, and people treated her like a rhino rock star everywhere she went. The summertime rhinoceros went extinct in Malaysia in late 2019, where the country's last female rhino, Iman, died of cancer. Tam, Malaysia's last male rhino, died earlier that spring. The species is now down about 80 individuals, all living in Indonesia. Lincoln was in pretty rough shape and nearly blind when he was found in 2019 in a remote region of Tibet. Chinese West made history by performing cataract surgery on the snow leopard, successfully restoring his vision. Nick Nong saved his life of a British crew when the tsunami hit Thailand in 2004. Amber Mason was frightened at the elephant's back when the Nick Nong scented then something was wrong before anyone else did. She scurried to higher ground and saved Amber from being drowned. 2 chicks from the world's rarest owl species have survived to become flat lynx for the first time in 10 years. There are fewer than 50 Norfolk Island moral pole owls left on a remote island in the Pacific Ocean. Hopefully, the tiny bear born in 2020 will help save the species. Xen Hang was the first captive bred female panda to be released into a protected wilderness area in 2013. She was still alive and well years later, given conservation is great cause for celebration.